lost to ignorance and confusion, three men arose from humble beginnings with a message of wisdom and hope for their troubled times. Three men who would eventually change the very face of humanity. But they are making $40 an hour working from home. Why aren't you? Take advantage of this special offer by clicking on the link below.
Ah!
So, here are some other guys.
It's Song Talk Radio with Bruce, Neel, and Phil.
Episode number 244. This is the show with songwriters talking to other songwriters about the craft of songwriting. We share tips, tools, and techniques, and together, at the end of all this, we all become just a little bit better at writing songs. I'm your host, Neel Modi, and joining me tonight are the psychological members of the Song Talk Radio Action Team. We got Behavior Baseline Bruce.
Okay.
Stay on your best behavior.
All right.
We've got Freudian Phil.
Thank you.
Oh, it's all about your mother.
I want
Yo, mama.
I want a desk.
Okay.
I feel like I should have a desk, yeah.
You want a couch you can recline on?
No, I want a desk. I feel like a desk would be better.
All right, we got Learning Curve Linda in the guest host seat tonight.
Hey,
Exactly,
Linda.
learning curve for sure.
That wasn't supposed to be, anyway. And handling your social media channels tonight, we got Validation Vanessa.
Yes, back from her trip.
Back from her trip overseas. And working the knobs and faders tonight, we got Manic Michael.
Wow.
Hey.
Whoa. And he's back from his trip as well.
Yeah.
So it's tonight it's just all in the family, and it is actually a family reunion. It's the first time all of us have been together in like
A long time.
That's right.
At least
couple
2 weeks.
Yes, that's right.
So during the show, send in your comments, questions, and your diagnoses to Song Talk Radio on Twitter or Facebook. Feedback at songtalk.ca for the old-fashioned email. We'll share them in real time with the audience. And please stop by our website, songtalk.ca. Find out how you can be a guest on the show. Tonight, like I said, we're all in the family. We're going to be exploring songs that make the best use or make the most of using only three chords. Now, three-chord songs, like typically when we think of three-chord songs, we think of the 1-4-5 progression.
Yeah.
Yeah, and blues stuff. And I mean, typically the sort of, old-fashioned songs like Happy Birthday, Mary Had a Little Lamb, and all that sort of stuff tends to be like a, 1-4-5 kind of progression.
Actually, I don't think Happy Birthday is three chords.
Isn't it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's actually a pretty complicated little song. If you've ever tried to play it, it's pretty awkward.
Yeah.
I've only ever tried to play the melody.
Especially the jazz version.
The jazz version maybe throws in the diminished and the and the other thing. And of course we all know about the four chords and the truth. Sort of Nashville.
Yep.
Every time those
Right.
Nashville singer-songwriters get around a circle and take turns and do the thing, they're always calling it like four chords and the truth.
That's true. Well,
Where
that's
they-
the idea is the folk, that was the folk,
The folk tradition.
yeah, the folk tradition is that
Yeah.
you'd be,
Keep it
singing
simple.
out against the establishment with four chords and the truth.
Yeah.
I thought it was three chords.
Yeah, I thought it was
Truthfully.
three.
There- I think
About
there's
the folk
inflation.
tradition.
It's inflation.
There's three chords and then
I
like
think,
a
I think it's the
70s.
three chords plus the minor six, and
That's
then we
true.
get the,
Right.
and we, because it's always that one minor.
But unless you're Newfoundland, so then it's like a little bit later. So the way it goes.
Yeah.
So we need to actually talk about the boundaries of the three chord songs, because we had some interesting discussions before the show about what actually qualifies as a three chord song.
I think it's pretty clear.
Well, let's make sure that everyone understands
Right.
that.
You're using three chords.
Well, yeah, but if you're
That's it.
okay, what if you hit a D and you go to a D minor? Is that considered another
That's a different chord.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But,
So, but what if you do a suspension though?
that's a different chord.
Yeah.
It's a different flavor.
I mean, it's talking about, I think, what rock and roll was basically very simple chords, right? A rock and roll band, they learned like the song would run through three chords, and folk songs.
Yeah.
I think it's the
Punk
idea.
songs.
I think it's the idea of harmonic simplicity, and working from there, saying, and I like what you were saying earlier, Neel, before the radio your thing was turned on here, is the idea about what does the song do. If it's not doing it harmonically, what does it do to compensate for that simplicity? Not compensate,
Right.
but what does it add? Melody, really interesting lyric, or as we're going to hear from Linda's song, the hookiest hook you've ever heard.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Or a rhythmic sort of thing.
Or sound effect.
The thing I learned not too long ago about, you're saying harmonic simplicity. If you look at the 1-4-5 chord progression from a theory point of view, like if you're in the key of C, for example, you got C, E, G is the C major chord, the F chord is F, A, C, and the G chord is G, B, and D. if you look at the notes that are comprise all three of those chords, you run through every single note of the major scale.
Yes.
Right? So actually a 1-4-5 is actually harmonically rich in that regard, in that it covers everything in the major scale.
Well, what's really interesting, actually, and that was one of the programs that we talked about last week, Liquid Notes, is that you were able to select the different chords, but they had one of three roles, which is the root, the dominant, which would be the fifth, or the subdominant, which is the fourth, and how sort of all the chords came from either being a 1, a 4, or a 5. But it's just there's sort of variations on the 4 and the 5. It was quite interesting.
Nashville numbering, for those folks who are listening who don't know, that's the Nashville numbering style where you can just call out to the band as 1, 4, 5, and 8 go, and they do.
Yeah, and of course the one is the root of the scale. For the 4 is a chord that's based on the fourth note of the scale. 5, the fifth note of the scale.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, pretty simple. So I want to go around the room with all of us, because Linda included, we're all songwriters. Have you guys ever written a 3-chord song? And if so, like, what was it deliberately? I'm going to write a 3-chord song, or how did that work?
Well, when
okay, start with Bruce.
Well, when I laughed when you came up with that, because when I started writing songs, I had very limited theory, like extremely limited. I'd been a lyric writer my whole life, right? So then it was like I went and got a guitar chord book, and they told me that these 3 go together, and then these 3 go together, and I didn't want to get more complicated than that. So my early songwriting was 3 chords by default, because I didn't know. I mean, I knew what some of the sevenths, like I knew.
And you knew some of the minors.
I knew A minor and E minor. Yeah, I knew the minors, but in creating a song, I didn't think that I wasn't sophisticated enough to know that you could go to a different set of chords, for example, for the chorus, or especially for the bridge. So what the song you'll hear from my album here tonight, on the chorus, they just turn around the order. And on the bridge, I use the same turnaround order with a different melody.
Right.
But so for me, it was lack of sophistication. And now I think I'm just lazy.
Well, that's exactly what Steve Miller did in his song. He used the same 3 chords in The Joker, which is the one I brought tonight, and he just turned them around a little bit to make the chorus.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
No, it's really not wrong.
It's not wrong at all.
Absolutely not. And then that happens to me too. Like sometimes I hear a song that I really loved for many, many years, like the song I brought tonight, Radiohead "Street Spirit." For the longest time, I didn't realize it was a 3-chord song because I was infatuated by the lyric and the melody and the arrangement and all that sort of stuff. And then I discovered
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, when I actually decided to cover it with a singer I was working with, I was like, wait a minute, this is a 3-chord song. It's like, wow, it's still a
What about when
song.
you're writing, Neil? Do you say, I've got this entire breadth of chords I know and all this theory?
It may be because I'm a piano player rather than a guitar player, and I cut my teeth on to a limited extent of even classical music. Like I was playing Bach and stuff like that on my piano as well.
Do they have more than 3 chords?
Oh,
in Bach?
Absolutely, yeah. But he's changing keys. He's going all over the place, right?
I know.
So so that probably fed into my more pop songwriting stuff as well. That I'm always interested in harmonic progressions before anything else.
Right.
Traditionally, that's how I've been doing. When I did try to write a few songs on guitar when I was trying to learn how to guitar, I did write one song that was just 2 chords because that's basically all I could play. At the time.
It's a good exercise.
And I started a sort of a blues song that was supposed to be a 3-chord song, but then my brain kept going, I need to introduce something else here, and I ended up probably putting 5 chords into it on the guitar.
Yeah.
I think when I was very young, I wrote a blues song, as everyone sort of writes one blues song. But generally, I think I usually did fairly not basic chords. I was always kind of attracted to more sort of unusual stuff, very poppy stuff. But yeah, most of I think I've had 4 chords. 4-chord songs where I've just had to use 4 chords and played around with the order.
When you're writing for a band, is there any restrictions on that? Do you want to keep it simple for a band so you can learn it quickly, or is that a concern?
Not really, because if you get with decent musicians, it doesn't take them much. Like a good musician.
Yeah. They can play anything. Then.
Yeah, I mean, like when I've done session work when I get called in. And I haven't done this for a bunch of years, but there's this bass player who was always sick, so he was playing in all these different bands, and they'd call me up and say, "Can you sub for him?" So I'd show up, and they would just sort of, give you the 1-4-5 in A minor, and you would do it. So
Right.
you're playing live. So with really good musicians, you don't need a lot of, they're pretty sophisticated.
How about for you, Linda? Is it a conscious thing to do a 3-chord song?
I have written a 3-chord song. I'm thinking of it right now. It's called Caledonia, and I can't think of any other 3-chord songs that I've written because sometimes it'll be 3 chords, but then I always get the impulse to change it up, either in a bridge or in maybe at the chorus, and I resist sticking with a 3-chord song when I'm writing. I don't know. I kind of have folk roots, and a lot of folk songs are 3-chord songs, and I have a lot of respect for the simplicity of that. But still, when I'm writing things, I seem to resist just sticking with the 3 chords. I want to throw in another sound.
Right. Okay.
Well, there'll be some samples tonight where you can actually just have the different 3 chords, but the melody you do on top of it can be quite different.
Yeah. Or you can change, or like Bruce was saying, you change the order of the chords that you do with the band, or you change the rhythm of it.
But you can do quite a bit with just the melody.
And we're going to see a variety of songs tonight that actually address it in different ways. So let's get started with the first one. First
I
off
like to start with the first things.
I think I like to start with the first
I've often started with the first
Let's
things.
start with Bruce's song.
Is that going to be the first thing?
That's going to be the first one.
Okay.
Can I set it up?
Yeah, please.
This is the first song, right?
No, it's the second one.
Okay.
All right. We'll pretend it's the second for Phil. He's being kooky tonight. It's fun. Are you kook? So when I was working on songs initially, it was Easter, and I was at my sister's place, and I was at that point really into songwriting, and my niece was 9 years old. That's Sarah Copplestone, and she was hanging out with me in the living room, and I said, "Hey, got any ideas for songs?" And she said, I don't know. I said, well, what's a feeling you're having right now? And she said, well, everybody's here for Easter. It's really great. But then they leave. And it was that I thought, oh, great, a conflicting emotion, the joy of being with family, and then everybody leaves. And she misses us all, which was so sweet. So I wrote a song called Now You're Leaving.
We were happy spending time together. I know I'm gonna miss you. Feeling sad that you are going. I sure hope you'll miss me too. 'Cause now you're leaving. Wish I could see you every day. Wish I could find the words to say to make you stay. Whoa, whoa, to make you stay. You're with me now and it's wonderful, but soon you will be gone. Why do people have to leave? I guess they just have to move on. 'Cause now you're leaving. Wish I could see you every day. Wish I could find the words to say to make you stay. Whoa, whoa, to make you stay. I'll write you a letter. You could write me one too. I hope you'll be thinking about me, 'cause I'll be thinking of you. Now you're leaving. I'll think about you every day. I'll think about the words I'll say when you come back. Whoa, whoa, come back one day. When you come back. Whoa, whoa, I know you'll come back one day.
Okay, that was Now You're Leaving by Bruce Harrott and Sarah Copplestone.
Yeah.
So yeah, you did some turnarounds of the chords, like change the sequences of things, and
it's DGA in the verse, and then it goes.
Yeah.
I think it goes G, G, A, D. I just played around like what felt right to me in terms of melodically.
Right.
And there's enough difference melodically between the verse and chorus. You can tell,
absolutely. Yeah,
definitely tell.
Yeah.
And then in the bridge, I'll write you a letter. You could write me one too. I don't even remember what chords they are, but I knew that the bridge should be something like a little bit different, but not as different as the chorus was. So,
so the same chords in the bridge.
Yep.
But it starts on the 5 instead of the 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Sort of thing,
Da, 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 da. So I think I knew instinctively when I was writing it of what I wanted to do. And as a beginning songwriter, not on the lyric side, but on the melody and chords, I purposely kept it very simple because I thought, I don't want to get all confused. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing, I may have spoken to you guys before about this, I took it to a top session player in Vancouver at the time, Robbie Steininger, who's playing there. And it's a guitar-heavy record, and he played all the guitars on it. Anyway, I said, when I brought him the songs, he was a very seasoned pro, right? And I said, are the songs too simple? And he said, no, man, I love it. He called me man, which made my day, right? I'm a middle-aged guy making folk songs. Hey, man. No, because it gave him room to play around with stuff. And in fact, I don't know, listening to the record, did he add any chords to there, or did he keep it?
He was playing notes. The melody of the guitar were playing notes outside of the triad of the chord, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, I think the roots were all pretty...
But they're
all
there?
pretty rooted in the progression, for sure.
So what would you say, in terms of your theory, that you have to compensate a bit? If you have 3 chords, it may get boring because same chords in the chorus, same chords in the bridge. Mm-hmm. So what I was feeling with this one was that there was an emotion and a sweetness to it, and the arrangement is very simple and like homey, kind of like. Yeah. I actually got a fan letter from a young woman who said, your song really meant a lot to me because my boyfriend had to go to another city for university, and I could relate to you're leaving, but you'll come back again. And it talks a lot about, I know you'll come back, you'll write me. It's all about trying to hold on to connection, right?
I think the main thing about if you're going to work with a smaller musical palette like 3 chords, and there's nothing wrong with that, is that you still need to make sure that your verses and your choruses and your sections are clearly delineated, so that it's clear where the chorus starts, where it ends, where the verse starts, where it ends. Yes. And I think sometimes young songwriters, when they're just playing with 3 chords, they're not paying enough attention to that. And that's something that you really always have to kind of highlight. Yeah. So you have to go, okay, is there enough of a difference between the verse and the chorus?
Yeah. Well, especially if you stay with a 1-4-5 in your verse, 1-4-5 in your chorus, and 1-4-5 in your... Yeah. I mean, it's going to be confusing. It's got to have a major shift in the melody.
Yeah. Now, you can still delineate those sections. You just have to be conscious of it and go, how am I going to do it? Because it may not happen naturally. Yeah.
Because even in your song, I was playing along on my piano to it earlier today, and I think at the end of the verse, you're not going D, G, A necessarily, you're going D, G, D, G, D, G. Then you go to the A, which signals that something else is coming now, and then you launch it into the chorus, right, when the melody lifts. And so it's a combination of things.
We got a tweet in. We love tweets from Sharon. Knocking on Heaven's Door, only 3 chords in the verse and only 4 all in. One of the greatest tunes ever written. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a great
Bob
tune.
Dylan song, right?
Bob Dylan song that he didn't even write out of inspiration. He wrote out of because he was
perspiration.
No, he actually he was commissioned. It was for his movie soundtrack.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of like in the.
You'll have to go closer to the mic there.
3-chord song. There's a lot of classic rock songs, or more classic rock songs fall under the 3-chord song than other genres.
Yeah, true.
It's probably
true.
CCR songs.
Keep it simple.
That's true.
And rock came out of blues and rock came out of
absolutely.
We better hear another song.
Yeah, let's move on to Linda's song, which is a great pick.
Tell us about it,
Linda. For us, Linda.
Well, I went through thinking about a lot of songs before I landed on this one. But it's The Joker by Steve Miller Band. And it was actually written, it was a collaborative writing by Steve Miller, Eddie Curtis, and Ahmet
Erdogan, founder of Atlantic Records, 1947.
Yeah. And it being a 3-chord song, relies a lot on really amazing lyrics, a beat that is really interesting, a riff on the bass line and a riff on the guitar, and
a sound effect.
Sound effects.
You'll hear it.
That's right.
Yes. Well, actually, I chose a recording because we all know this recording so well. I think it's part of our collective unconscious of all of us in this world. I chose a recording that is Steve Miller playing it solo on a radio show in 2006. So he's playing it on an acoustic guitar, and there are no sound effects in it.
Oh, okay.
And
pretty much everything else is there.
He manages to do an amazing job of it, and his acoustic guitar playing is excellent, singing excellent. So let's listen to it.
Some people call me the space cowboy. Yeah. Some call me the gangster of love. Some people call me Maurice, 'cause I speak of the pompatus of love. People talk about me, baby, yeah. They say I'm doing you wrong, doing you wrong. Don't you worry, no, darling, no, don't worry, 'cause I'm right here, right here, right here, right here at home. 'Cause I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, I'm a sinner. I play my music in the sun, and I'm a joker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight toker. I get my loving on the run. People keep talking about me, baby, yeah. They say I'm doing you wrong, doing you wrong. Don't you worry, no, darling, no, don't worry, 'cause I'm right here, right here, right here, baby, right here at home. And you're the cutest thing that I ever did see. I really love your peaches, I'm gonna shake your tree. Lovey-dovey, lovey-dovey, lovey-dovey all the time. Ooh, yeah, baby, I should show you a good time. 'Cause I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, I'm a sinner. I play my music in the sun, and I'm a joker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight toker. I get my loving on the run, yeah. Ooh. Yeah, yeah.
That was
amazing. Great. What a great voice. Wow. And he, he knows the song so well. He loves it, right?
Well, and what's great is, at first I was thinking, why would you do the recording that we all know and has, we can recognize. But actually by playing it just with the acoustic, it really does lay the song structure kind of bare in a way that the rest of the stuff doesn't, also pay attention to the way he did his melody. He does like halfway through the verse, he actually raises the register, don't you worry, baby.
Yeah, he's riffing on it. Yeah.
And that makes the verse really interesting. So just three chords, but because the melody was really considered, it never is boring.
Exactly.
And that's
was Steve Miller considered a blues singer then?
No.
Pop, I think pop.
Yeah, he was a
pop
star.
Pop, yeah.
Although I can't think of. I think he had other hits. I just can't think of what they were. I know Rocky Mountain Way. He did. I can't remember. Well, he wrote it, but Steve Miller did a version.
Yeah. He had a bunch of hits in the 70s.
Yeah, I'm sure. I just can't think of what them. Fly like an eagle. Time keeps on slipping into the future. And you know what? He was right.
It does.
Did he wrote that? He wrote that or performed it?
He wrote it.
He wrote it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he wrote a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Take the money and run.
Oh yeah.
Take the money and run. See, we have Michael here tonight, so he's a font.
Must be something with people named Michael, because Mike McInnes is like that too.
Yeah.
So it's a very important name to have, I guess.
And once again, this is a 1-4-5 song. right?
It is
Of course.
145. Yeah.
It was the
It
three
is.
chords with the one,
Yeah.
145, all major chords. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just throw in a little fact I found on the internet. The famous verse about your peaches shake your tree comes from a song called Lovey Dovey that Eddie Curtis wrote. Apparently, Eddie was a writer back in the day, and he brought that to this song when he did the co-write with Steve Miller and Ahmet Erdogan, who, of course, was, I guess he said, "Hey boys, I'm helping out." He was the owner of the label of Atlantic Records, which was Aretha Franklin and just about everybody, right?
Wow.
And so he stepped in there. I don't know what, but I did a little research on Ahmet, and he's a writer in his own right, as as you might say, in the blues category.
Right.
Oh,
So
wow.
if any of our listeners want to check him out, Ahmet Ertegun, Ertegun,
With the two little dots above the
with the
U.
umlaut above the U.
Umla.
You know, and it was funny. We were talking during the show that line really confused me and my friends when we were like 11 because we knew it had something to do with sex, but we couldn't quite figure out
What
exactly
are the
what they were talking
peaches?
about.
What are the peaches?
Well,
I don't know.
we weren't very smart back
What's the
then.
tree?
so-
Yeah,
yeah. Well, shaking your tree.
There was no internet.
Actually, the whole concept of peaches or apples and shaking your tree goes way back in folk music and blues history.
What does
and
it
it's,
mean,
It
Linda?
follows like all kinds of people
It's a
have
farming reference.
taken that lyric
farming
and used it in
And
there.
of course, when I was 11 years old, Peter Gabriel had a song called "Shaking the Tree."
Oh,
The
right.
entire song revolved around
Also,
shaking the
didn't
tree.
you spank the monkey?
Yeah, he also had Spank the Monkey.
You should not spank monkeys.
Yes.
No, it wasn't Spank the Monkey. It was Shock the Monkey.
Shock.
Which is even worse. I'm not judging. If that's what you're into,
I think you were.
That's
I think
fine.
maybe you had
I'm not
Spank the
judging.
Monkey.
Each
That was
his
a
own
movie.
monkey.
Spank the Monkey was a movie.
But on that note, we're going to be right back after these special messages.
Is that one of the ones that was blurred? Anything can happen. Okay. For those of you just joining us, you are listening to Song Talk Radio with Bruce, Neel, and Phil. Stream to you on songtalk.ca, and tonight we're talking about songs that make the most of using only three chords or three-chord songs. Don't forget, we love to hear from you. So why don't you tweet into us at Song Talk Radio. Send us an email at feedback@songtalk.ca. And we'll share your thoughts in real time, or send us something on Facebook. We'll even if you send us something on Facebook, we'll still read it.
What's wrong with Facebook?
Don't forget, you can find the links to all the products and books and web services we mentioned here on the show on the resources page at songtalk.ca. Coming up next week, which is October 30th somehow, jazz singer Stephen Tates returns. He's amazing.
He's awesome, yeah.
He is just fantastic.
A new album.
And great songs, too. And, of course, November 6th, it is our 5th anniversary show.
Yay!
5 years
5
old.
years. Wow.
Yes, we're getting into that awkward age now. And if you're in the Toronto area, please join us for the next Songwriters Meetup on Thursday, October 25th from 7 to 10 p.m. at the Transact Club. Free to join and free to attend. Stop by songtalk.ca for the link and come out and join us, won't you? So
What? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've got a bit of a joke here. This is our definition. All right, here it is.
Okay.
Are you ready? I went right to the back.
Yeah.
Z. Is that what we say in Canada? Z? Or is it
think
Z?
so.
Yeah. I always get confused. The Americans say
confused
Z.
too.
Yeah. So Z, the sound made by members of the audience during a performance, especially of opera. Usually found in the plural, thus Z, 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 often accompanied by a snore. Oh, you guys, come on.
That's
Ragging on the
happened to
operas.
us. Yes. So one thing is, last week we had a great show about songwriting apps, and there's one app we forgot to mention, and this fellow actually reached out to us back in August. I said we would take a look at it, and I forgot. So I'm sorry.
He lied.
I know it's and it's a really cool app. It's called Writer's Session app, Writer's Session, and it's by a company called one in a billion.net, one in a billion.net's applications, and it's for iOS only, so iPhone and iPad, and It's an innovative songwriter's companion for organizing your thoughts and ideas in a single place. It offers a unique collection of creative writing tools to help you streamline and stimulate the creative process. It quickly captures and manages multiple audio recordings, takes per song, finds alternative words with its built-in rhyming dictionary, thesaurus and dictionary, generates new phrases using its built-in phrase suggester, shares your writings and recordings with friends by email or airdrop, quickly enter musical chord notations and song sections, and saves your copyrighted song information.
Wow,
it is
that's a
now
lot of
available
things.
free.
It's free.
And there's a pro version for just $5.49.
Okay.
That's very reasonable.
They are really reasonable. And you can find out more about that at oneinabillion.net. And that's 1 in a billion applications. We will definitely take a look at that and play around with it. And maybe
we'll have to add
talk
that,
about it.
We'll have to add that to our show notes as a.
Yeah.
Sorry, we forgot, but here's.
Sorry, especially because you reached out to us and we did a great
Thanks
job.
for reaching out.
Yes, and I've been actually
Cool.
playing around with Tunesmith, and I have some
Oh, yeah?
interesting points which I'm going to write into a review.
Okay, cool.
Some good things and bad things.
Awesome.
But unfortunately, we have to talk about something that nobody wants to talk about.
Oh,
What's
that? Elephant in the room?
That is Christmas. I know
Holidays?
we're not supposed to talk about Christmas before Halloween,
Halloween.
but we are talking about Christmas now because we are starting to prepare our first annual holiday gift guide.
Oh,
and
right,
what we want from all our listeners out there is like the best songwriting or music related present you got. It could be a service, it could be a kind of instrument, it could be a book, it could be a little accessory.
Yeah.
We want to know what you would recommend. Please send us an email.
Could be a
with
cowbell.
that. Could be a cowbell.
And
Yeah,
this could
percussion
be
instrument.
could it be a holiday gift as well as a Christmas gift? Like Hanukkah and
It could be a
Kwanzaa?
Hanukkah.
Yeah, Hanukkah
or
gift.
Kwanzaa.
So just a gift for the holidays and something. Is there a price range here? Should we
No.
keep it under
Put
1,000?
it, no,
Whatever you
whatever
can
you
afford.
want.
And what's the address they should send it to?
To feedback at songtalk.ca.
I'm not sending
Thank
you
Linda.
gifts. Oh, Linda, they're
Feedback.
sending
Sounds
gift
like an
ideas.
opportunity for gear acquisition.
Vanessa was the same. Oh, we're getting gifts? No.
So even if it's a gift that you wish someone would buy you, we still want to hear.
sure.
Yes.
So and
Sounds
it
good.
could even be just like a service that you found on the internet, which is really cool, which helped you along your way. But anything. So that's going to be in mid-November, I think we're going to do.
You know what I would like, Phil, if you're thinking of this holiday giving me something, is someone to string my guitar.
You
Like
did that last though.
I strung my guitar
very
on
impressed.
Sunday. I always let that. Well, it's not. I'm afraid of guitars. They're so high strung. You know what I mean? No, but one of the strings
Good night,
alone, will take 30 pounds. Like I'm always afraid the thing's going to snap and spin in. So I keep my glasses on.
Yeah,
Okay.
goggles.
But I did the way you suggested because somebody once told me, and kids out there, this is apparently wrong. You're not allowed to take all the strings off at the same time because the neck will bow or something. No. So I was awkwardly trying to take one string off at a time, put the next one. Took all the strings off. I cleaned the whole thing. Put all the new strings on, and you know what? It held tune. I performed last night, and it held tune for the whole evening on new strings.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, they're Diodarios, which I always use, the soft wound. So anyway,
Congratulations. You
but
did it.
apparently there are probably
Excellent.
services like Long and McQuaid here in Toronto. You could probably drop your
absolutely.
guitar
Yeah,
by. Give me the best restringing.
Or if you got a friend, or
Although,
or
actually-
like you, just figure out how to do it yourself.
No,
It's
but
not
I-
that hard.
About one tip I would like to say to guitar players is when you buy a guitar player, when you buy a new guitar, is take it to a good music shop and get it set up.
What does that
Because
mean, set up?
That means that the strings are sort of above the fretboard correctly and that your pickups are set up correctly.
Right.
And you need a guitar technician, and that makes all the difference.
Because the manufacturer may not have done it properly?
No, they almost never do. They're also doing the intonation so that you have, especially on electric guitars, you have very small bridges that move back and forth.
Yeah.
And that means by changing where those are, it actually will play more in tune up and down the neck.
So that's the thing of for guitar players, the distance between the string and the fretboard or the neck is
called the
makes
action.
the action makes it either easy to play or difficult to play. When I started out, my brother and I started guitar. My mom bought us this really cheap guitar, which was
I know.
not set up. I had to use like pliers to push the
you
strings
did, no,
down, right?
yeah.
I was like, and then one day my guitar teacher said, "Would you like to try my Gibson?" And I went, "Oh!" And I started playing it. I played like 10 times better because the action was a beautiful
huge
guitar.
difference.
Think of the strength you developed in your fingers.
Yeah,
Well,
and the
that's true.
calluses over
Yeah.
the years. But moms and dads, buy your kids a proper guitar. It doesn't
Yes,
cost that
yeah.
much.
Even cheap guitars are much better these days.
Okay,
Yeah.
speaking of
That's true.
action, let's.
Oh, we got more
we
songs,
got
do
more
we?
songs to get
All
through.
right.
Absolutely.
Who's next?
So, I guess I'm next.
Your song is next, Phil.
So this is a really interesting song. This is a song called BBC by Mike Myers, and it's actually from the Austin Powers movie. This actually it's an easy song to dismiss because it actually is only 3 chords.
Yep.
Doesn't change the order. It's what is it? It's EAD, I think.
D-A-N-E.
DAE. Basically has one set of lyrics all the way through. But it's a kick-ass song. And this has and how they've done this is actually all through arrangements. And this is the one complaint I have with most bands that I see, especially amateur bands, because they don't know any better. They're just, so that if everyone is always starting at the beginning and ending at the end and always playing, that's not a good thing because that doesn't give you any kind of interest to the song. So listen to this song that's coming up. Hear how they've. This is only 3 chords, but it's still really clear what the verse is, what the chorus is, and listen to the difference between the verse 1, verse 2, and verse 3. And there's even a kind of something that acts like a bridge, again with those 3, but it's all done through arrangements. So pay really close attention to what the instruments are doing and what they're not doing. It's a fantastically put together piece of music. So let's take a listen
It's called
to
Ming Tea, BBC.
There's going to be a test afterwards.
There will be.
Ming Tea, BBC.
Mrs. Will ya make me tea? Make love to me. Put on the telly. To the BBC. To the BBC. Yeah, yeah, yeah. BBC 1, BBC 2, BBC 3, BBC 4, BBC 5, BBC 6, BBC 7, BBC Heaven. Mrs. William, make me tea, make love to me, put on the telly, to the BBC, to the BBC, yeah, yeah, yeah. BBC 1, BBC 2, BBC 3, BBC 4, BBC 5, BBC 6, BBC 7, BBC Heaven. Mrs. William, let me take my love to me. Put on the telly to the BBC, to the BBC, yeah, yeah, yeah. BBC 1, BBC 2, BBC 3, BBC 4, BBC 5, BBC 6, BBC 7, BBC Heaven, BBC Peace.
And that was Ming Tea, or BBC by Mike Myers. But it's written by Susanna Lee Hoffs, Mike J. Myers, Matthew Sweet, Graham Stewart Johnson, and Christopher William Ward.
Whole committee around.
I think there's some Toronto writers in there. Wasn't Chris Ward a Toronto dude?
It's kind of a punk song.
Well, it's great, but again, it's only 3 verses, only 3 chords, but each verse is very different. Like even if you hear the difference between verse 1 and verse 2, there's like a bit of a difference, but it gives the song a real kind of there's clear delineation between the sections. It gives the song dynamics, and so many bands don't. They just kind of keep on playing. And if you're in a 2-guitar band, for the love of God, have one of the guitars stop playing.
Yeah,
that drives me nuts because most of them are not tight enough, and it just sounds like goo. And if you watch the professionals, if you ever watch like a professional band, like backing someone, a big band, a lot of times they're just standing there.
Yeah,
but which is hard when you're a musician. You don't want to be on stage not doing anything, which is why everyone wants to play.
But
don't
the
do
good
that.
ones know when to sit out, right, and let let something else happen.
Yeah.
I think we should also mention that Mike Myers is a Torontonian, a native of Toronto. He's become famous internationally, and especially in the U.S. with the Austin Powers movie series and many other things. But he's originally from Toronto.
Yes.
The other notable thing about this song is that it's not a 1-4-5. It's sort of a 1-5 major 2.
Yeah.
Which actually puts a little bit of a different spin on it, and it ends up being in Lydian mode.
Yeah.
Which we talked about a few weeks ago.
I think there were a lot of songs out of Britain in the British invasion that were gung 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 gung.
Yeah, that to me is what makes it kind of a punk thing.
Yeah,
I mean, it was definitely
felt like that.
I mean, because the movie was riffing on the
60s,
on the 60s, so that was kind of it. But it's also, if you ever we used to play this live and it just killed. Because it's got a great chorus, right?
Absolutely.
You know, everyone can jump in on the 1 and 2 and 3. So again, a masterfully written little song.
Yeah.
You know, and when you listen to it a lot, you go, "Wow, this is really well done." And the performance, of course, was amazing too.
I'm guessing it was recorded here in Toronto, but who knows?
Hope so.
Yeah.
Toronto promotion. What else have we got on the roster?
Okay, so finally, my choice, which is Radiohead's "Street Spirit."
Beautiful song.
Yeah, which is a very haunting, beautiful song. This is off their album "The Bends" in the mid '90s, '94ish, and again, three-chord song, but not 1-5-4. It's mostly minor, so it's A minor, E minor in the verses, and then goes into it inserts a C major in the choruses. And the interesting thing about this song, of course, is that the lyrics are fascinating because they're really cryptic and you have no idea what it's about, but it's still cool and poetic. But the melodies over each similar chord progression change pretty drastically. Right, like there's a melody in the verses. Of course, the chorus is a different chord progression because it inserts the C major as well, and it's a much more legato melody there. But then there's another section of oohs over the same chord progression. That's a different melody, and then at the very end, Tom York sings a different lyric and a different melody over the same chord progression. So that's how they insert all the interest into the song. So let's have a listen. Radiohead, "Street Spirit."
Rows of houses all bearing down on me. I can feel the hands touching me. All these things into position. All these things will one day swallow whole. Before we all go under. All these things will one day swallow.
Okay, so that's Radiohead by Street Spirit by Radiohead.
Yeah, I think they're going to do well, that band.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
sound pretty good.
They'll do pretty good. Yeah, and of course, Radiohead, as I was just informed by our tech Michael, they credit every member of the band with every song.
Mm-hmm.
But my impression was this is largely Tom York's song, but I could be wrong about that. Mm-hmm. But in any case, they share the credit for all the songs.
Well, you don't know. This might have come out of a jam.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, who knows? So the other interesting thing about this song to me is that arpeggiated pattern that he's playing on the guitar, right? Because that as well adds into. Could you imagine a 3-chord song where it's just strumming the chords, like your guitarist did on your song as well, Bruce, adding a little bit of melodic flavor, and then that introduces another melody on top of the vocal melody, right? So it adds a little more interest.
What's the song about?
I have no idea. Apparently, the reason I thought it was Tom York's song, apparently he said at some point that when he first started performing this song, or when they first started performing this song, he felt like crying every time he sang this song. Okay. Like it was that emotionally deep for him, and he expected the audience to react the same way, but the audience was just like, with the torch lights.
I mean, it's about death. It seems. I mean, I can feel death. Can see its beady eyes. All things will one day swallow whole and fade out again.
It's about loss.
It's a bummer. Yeah.
Yeah. but it ends with immerse your soul in love. So hey,
right, the turnaround, the saving at the end,
little grace at the end,
because maybe
where
Tom
he could have introduced more major chords,
right? But he didn't
to brighten it up.
But maybe Tom is actually a positive philosophy guy at the end of the day. Right?
Yeah. Just because you write a sad song doesn't mean you're depressed.
No, I've written
well, we have a message from my Heather. Amazing. Radiohead is known for its complex compositions.
Yes.
Yeah, this one is only 3 chords. It still manages to be a complicated piece. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And for years I heard this song, and it wasn't until I decided to cover it that I realized it was a 3-chord song.
Yeah, well, I think it's his melody. I mean, he does very complex melodies, so it's not just 4 notes over and over again. The verse, it's actually like a classical piece. You have your theme, and then you have variations on top of it.
Yeah.
I think
it's a bit like Bach, actually.
Yeah, I mean, Radiohead is very considered in what they do. They're not.
Yeah, there's nothing happening there by mistake.
Yeah, the 3 chords that are chosen for this song too are very unusual and moody.
Yeah.
To put C together with E minor and A minor and stick with that for a whole song.
Yeah.
Gives it a lot of very moody feeling.
C, E minor, A minor?
C, E minor, and A minor.
So it's basically, I mean, if it's in the minor key, it's like the 1, 3, and the 1, 5, and the 3.
1, 5, and 3, right.
Yeah, from the minor perspective.
There's no release in this. Like, what chord would take it to, like a G or something? Or like to resolve it? If he chose to resolve it at the end, what would that be?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably throw an E major in there.
F, yeah?
Yeah, or an F.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting thing, and I think it's, if you're going to do like a 3-chord song, you need to maintain interest all through the song with melodic variations, or it could be just the way you actually you hit the words, but there needs to be that really consideration, know.
And there was a little bit of harmonic difference because the verses are A minor and E minor, and then he introduces the C major at the top of the chorus.
Yeah.
So there was another harmonics signpost as well as the melody is completely different, like I say. And
although I don't think
everything
anyone
else,
would actually confuse this with a pop song. It's.
I guess not.
It's pretty. I mean, it's like I was saying that they always hit me as being very kind of prog rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Not a little bit more kind of direct than prog rock.
Yeah, for sure.
I think of prog rock as like people like Gentle Giant and early Genesis.
Yeah, stuff was great. Yeah, perhaps Paranoid Android, Radiohead's Paranoid Android is the closest thing they come to real sort of traditional prog rock because it's like multi-movements and different things. And
I respect that. It's just not so.
Oh, yeah, it's very inventive.
What might be interesting is to ask our listeners to send in any of their favorite three-chord songs. If you want to send those in.
Sharon sent us one already.
Text or...
Yes,
Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Knocking on Heaven's Door. Yeah.
I mean, there are many of them. There's probably more three-chord songs than anything else out there.
Yeah, when you search it, there's actually way more.
There's billions of them.
And you don't even realize, like, okay, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, cool.
Well, there's lots of three-chord verses. It's, I think, having a three-chord all the way through. That's the
real trick,
more. But what made you decide to choose this one versus another three-chord song?
It's just the first one that came to mind. I mean, maybe just because of that experience of not knowing it was a three-chord song and then discovering it on my own that it was a three-chord song.
You thought it was more complex.
I thought it was more complex than that.
Because
it sounded more complex because there's all sorts of different complexities in there. And then when I started playing it myself, I was like, hey, wait a minute.
You played it on piano.
I played it on the piano.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a friend of mine who was a Radiohead fan to sing the lead track.
So maybe we could do another show that is the 6-chord song or
17-chord song.
Well, we had that.
Chords.
Well, we had that. Remember that guest who said
I don't remember who that was. Someone who said they have 57 chords in a song.
Yeah,
is that Michael Thorner maybe?
No, wasn't it the Russian guy, the tall, very very tall guy?
Richard?
Yeah, Richard.
Really?
Somebody said that when they were like 14 or something, just learning all the chords, they were thrilled that they knew so many chords.
Right.
They wrote like a 47-chord song, and then we said, "Was it good?" No, it wasn't.
Well, I think one thing that happens when you start writing songs is you want to get out of doing simple stuff, so you start trying to do really unusual chords.
Sure.
And the problem is you wind up with very often not very good songs because sometimes you need something like which is just like a root subdominant dominant song.
And that's what I've been finding out recently for myself in my own songwriting is if I want to do an unusual chord, I have to let the melody lead the way. If I let the melody be thoughtful and interesting, then you can throw a chord substitution or something a little different underneath it.
Yeah.
And you kind of get that little bit of harmonic interest with the melody as long as it's strong.
For our listeners out there, wouldn't they be just writing maybe to their level of knowledge of chords? Right? So I mean, yeah. With
guitarists, it's a little bit tougher because you need to be able to play bar chords. Right. If you're only adept at playing open chords, you're going to be 1, 4, 5, a couple of minors, and you're done.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get into the bar chords, then you can start really experimenting and
or alternative tunings, as Phil said. You
or
get away with it then.
Yeah, I mean, and that's definitely a great way of getting something new in your head is, detuning your guitar. There's tons of them out there. So
Yeah, I'm fascinated by simplicity. I think we should go towards. Let's do a show on one-chord songs.
How about no-chord songs?
I know of a song that's a one-note song.
What's that one?
It was a song that I encountered on one of the blogs I was on. It was like an amateur song, but it was basically a 3-chord song. I think it was basically a 3 or 4-chord song, but he's saying the same, and the song was about how I'm singing the same note over and over again.
Well, there's a famous thing called the one-note samba.
Right.
And that the song it's Portuguese, it's Brazilian, and the one note samba. It's very cool,
and it goes through chord changes.
Oh
yeah,
No, it's. I think that idea of we could do a show on a cappella songs. I mean, we haven't thought about that yet because when you say no chords, it's really, I was into a cappella quite a bit. I was going out to hear groups. There was a local group out of York University that was brilliant. And some of the Americans ones were doing the sound effect stuff, boom, boom. And they would create these sounds. And of course, there's the pentatonics. But we have to go. Yeah. So another time, we could do an a cappella show.
Many
in the new year.
For future shows. Yes,
right.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's all time we have tonight on Song Talk Radio with Bruce, Neel, and Phil. We'd like to thank all the three-chord songs out there.
Thank you,
You know who you are.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you, Linda, for your contributions. And
My pleasure.
send us your
Linda.
impressions via Twitter at Song Talk Radio, email feedback at songtalk.ca, Facebook and YouTube at Song Talk Radio. Stop by the good old website, songtalk.ca. Subscribe today to the Song Talk Radio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or Stitcher.com. And don't forget to sign up for our free newsletter at songtalk.ca. You can find links to all the products, books, and web services we mentioned on Song Talk Radio on our resources page at songtalk.ca. If you're in the Toronto area, join us at our next Songwriters Meetup, Thursday, October 25th from 7 to 10 p.m. at the Transact Club. It's free to join on Meetup and free to attend. Stop by songtalk.ca for the link. Thanks to Linda for her great insights tonight.
Thank you, Linda.
Thanks to Vanessa Vreeland for handling all our
She's
social
back.
media.
Yay.
Welcome
Yay.
back. And welcome back to Michael Proudfoot for his valiant work
Michael.
on the tech
Hey.
board. And most of all, we'd like to thank you, the listener, wherever you are. You can follow me at neilmodi.com. You can follow Bruce.
Chicken in a waffle cone.
You can follow Phil.
The Phil Emery.
You can follow Linda.
At lindalavender.com.
And Vanessa
Sunny_Vanessa.
On Twitter.
on Twitter. And Michael's still not being followed.
I tell you, quit following
Well,
me.
he's getting nervous.
They're not following
He's
you,
getting
Michael.
a kink
Don't
in his
worry.
neck from looking behind his shoulder all the time. Please stop by the website, songtalk.ca, browse past shows. We've got many, many of them. And find out how you can be a guest on the show. Keep on writing.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Good night.